Okay, cool. I thought I'd try doing some of these creative process videos. Right now I'm working on the Devil Tarot card. And yeah, so starting off here, I'm just kind of doing a skeleton outline. Usually when the first step is I just open up Photoshop in a state of panic and confusion with like maybe a really rough idea of what I want to do. And I just start making lines until it feels like I'm drawing. I feel like every time I start a new project, it's like I have to relearn everything I know. I don't know what it is. My brain just misfires, and it takes me a while to like remember the whole drawing process and get the muscle memory going. But anyways, yeah. So the skeleton outline is kind of just like geometry and rough shapes. I'm really just kind of like getting an idea of space and like motion. Uh, Yeah, a lot of really quick, messy lines. It's going to be one of multiple layers of outlines. I seem to love doing outlines because, I don't know, um, yeah, it just helps. I draw a lot by guides. Um, I wish I could do it a little more like, blind, but I'm not there yet. So yeah, what I'm doing right now, the little white area is he's got to have a torch in his hand, so I'm just trying to set that up. Um, Yep, there we go. Look, that's a pretty gross looking hand, but whatever. This is like I'm barely gonna follow this when I actually start doing the second outline. This is kind of me just having fun with my hands at this point. Cool. So yeah, I fucked up here, and I started doing like I actually was really happy with the line work. So I'm like, oh shit, this should actually be a line layer. Then I realized that I did it all in at 70 DPI or 70 opacity. So I had to go back and draw over everything, and then I made it an actual line layer. But yeah, anyways, don't do that. So I'm working on the face. I find if I'm working on a part of a drawing I really like, I get hyper focused on it, and I will just continually redo it until it's like I don't know, like relatively close to what I have in my head. Uh, Honestly, the drawing process for me is it's like giving birth, but it's the kid's like coming out sideways, so it's just really a lot of pushing and pulling and crying. Blood gets everywhere. Okay, that's not a good analogy, but I'm not going to elaborate. Yeah, I couldn't figure out the eyes. I was like, I really like drawing the big circular eyes. I just was my favorite thing to do. But then it looks like a little too happy for a devil. A little too, yeah. Also, like I spent so much time fucking around with that nose. Like it was nowhere near what I had in the concept. And part of me kind of likes the serrated nose. Like maybe I should have stuck with that, but it's too late now. So I'm gonna gotta live with my choices. I don't know. I like the vibe of this one. So yeah, just me redrawing the eyes forever until they until I'm happy or hit a point of frustration where I just have to move on. Um, yeah, just keep going on that. It's a lot of repetitive doing stuff over and over until it feels right. Went with the kind of more like pulled back slanty looking look with the eyes. So yeah, okay. Second outline layer. It's more fleshed out. It's a mixture of like solid shapes and geometry. So I'm still trying to make sure that I'm getting like perspective right, and but it's a little more got a little more volume to it this time. Um, I feel like maybe I waste too much time doing redundant work, doing like an outline and then maybe sometimes just tracing it line for line after. But I like having a extra layer where I can just experiment with and just get weird if I want and try different things, and I don't have to like go back and worry about affecting the finished layer. Yep. I need to get better at drawing like creases in clothing. I really like doing that. Like it's one of those things I enjoy doing, but I don't think I'm doing it right. Like I don't think those actually adhere to like the laws of physics. But we will, whatever. I'll watch some more tutorials on that sometime. I've been doing this for like 30 years, and I am still like watching every like very different tutorials, stuff from like I even go back and watch like beginner stuff just for refreshers, and then more advanced stuff. It's just like a never-ending cycle. Um, Here, made a separate layer for the torch. Uh, I always feel like if I know I'm going to be working on an aspect of the drawing that I'm going to be doing a lot of editing on and repositioning, I always make sure it's on a separate layer. Um, if I'm doing stuff just for myself, I do fewer layers. If I'm doing work for a client, I make sure everything is its own separate layer. Just because if you have to make revisions, it's really easy to go back and just adjust that one thing without having to erase a bunch of stuff. And you know, the wonders of modern technology is it's so much fun just to be able to do stuff like that, like just move it around and rotate it and not worry about like having to redraw a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah, I had a bit of fun drawing the fire. I like doing weird, flowy, uh, line, like broken. How am I explaining it? Look at the fire. I like drawing shit like that. Anyways, I think the stuff with like things like fire and that is in the end product. It's definitely going to be more shape based than line art. So uh, all that work on the lines is probably just there for like another reference point. But yeah. I do a lot of reference point drawing, like right there with my second outline layer. You can see I kind of like jointed the fingers up just to know like as little like landmarks. That's how I do a lot of my drawing, landmark based, I guess you could say. There's probably an actual proper term for that, but yeah, drawing hands is fun. I feel like I only recently, in like the last 5 years, got competent drawing hands, and even then, saying competent out loud, I'm like, ooh, well, maybe I'm. They don't look like dog shit anymore, I guess, is what I'm trying to say, and I'm starting to enjoy drawing them a lot more than I used to. I feel like fingers are very expressive, almost up there with eyes. Oh, geez, you hear that? My phone just. What the hell? I'm getting these like. I should never have downloaded TikTok. I get these stupid, annoying like notifications, and I literally never look at the program. Okay, anyway, sorry. Yeah, redrawn that thumb. That thumb gave me problems. Um, and the thing with like drawing these weird monsters is like it's good to know like have a solid grasp of an anatomy, but these guys are like weird creatures with like distorted proportions. So not everything here is going to be like one to one. What am I doing here? What am I working on? Oh yeah, the tail. I had it so a part of this card is there's these two other characters that are like chained together and chained to the devil. Normally, if I was doing this unobserved, I probably would have started like done their outline here as well. But I just kind of wanted to be a little quicker. Um, but yeah, as far as like taking up screen real estate goes, I needed to kind of picture where they would be in relation to the back of his jacket with the little with the flowing tails. Um, it would have been a little easier if I had them there as reference, but I think I actually got it pretty well. Just what I did there. Okay, legs. Legs fuck me up all the time. I've never been good at legs. And for this part, like this guy, I wanted to do like those big kind of like fluffy pantaloon style goat legs that devils are traditionally drawn with. So yeah, a big puffy front, and then it was supposed to like big puffy goat legs, and then it would like taper down to like really spindly lower part of the legs. Because I love doing that. I love like pointed, narrowing, tapering, weird looking dangly legs. It didn't turn out like that at all. This was like not a fun part for me was doing the legs. Um, a lot of redrawing, getting confused with my perspective. Um, it's one of those things like I had an idea in my head and it wasn't fully formed, so I was just like instead of focusing on it, I thought I'd just like brute force it out. Yep, you can see I got a little frustrated there. Anyways, I think after I did that, I actually took a little breather, kind of I think I don't know. Yep, yeah, I cleared it all up, started from scratch. Sometimes you just gotta do that. Went a little slower, and oh, then I got the idea instead of like being an organic leg, it would be like the fur part would like be pushed into like almost like big old pleather style leggings and with like a little garter belt on it. I don't know. That was a late game executive decision, and then it went down, tapered into the kind of goat hooves. Again, I should, you know what? I should have looked at a reference at like an actual hoof, because what I do here when I get to it is just kind of like a nebulous monster foot, which is whatever. It works. It looks cool. I'm happy with it, but yeah, gave it a little check mark. I don't know why. I'll have to go back and look if I left that check mark on the working layer, because I'll have to delete it. Again, having fun rotating and repositioning stuff. I knew that layer was going to be a problem child, so I put it on its own layer so I could like play around with it on its own. Also, always be naming your layers. I have made some terrible mistakes where didn't have named layers and I was just kind of guessing on which one I was working on, and then I painted over a very important thing and didn't realize till like an hour later when I went back to edit it, and it was too far out of my history to correct. So don't live like me, and always rename your layers, children. Yeah, I got a little tripped up with the perspective here of like, oh, should we be able to look up and into the jacket? This was fun. This part was fun. I really thought I was going to struggle more with this because it's kind of like twisty organic shapes and also add a perspective. And I think I got it. I think. Sometimes you just got to turn off the other layers to get a clear shot. As you can see, things are getting kind of messy with everything that was going on. So at this point, I'm probably like flipping between layers, turning them on and off to get a clearer view of things. Yeah. Yeah, and then going in, cleaning up overlapping lines. I usually only do that when I'm really happy with the positioning of everything, just so I don't have to go back, and if I move things around, I have to redraw a bunch of lines that I erased. Playing around, moving things. Wonders of Photoshop. I should see if I can find some public domain music to throw over this so it's not just like periods of quiet where I run out of things to say. Yeah, and now I'm just trying to like figure out where the positioning is going to be, and I got to add the two other characters, so I'm starting making their layers. They're each going to be their separate thing because I know I'm going to want to move them around. Yep. See, I think the on the lover, there's the Lover's Tarot deck, or tarot card, and it has very similar positioning of the two characters as the Devil card. And so I'm actually going to reuse the characters that I did for the Lover's card as these other two characters. I don't know if they're like supposed to represent slaves or what. I mean, I guess the Devil card is about power and giving it up, whether intentionally or not. So the imagery of having like people chained to him makes sense. I also was like listening to a podcast about tarot, and apparently there's big elements of addiction connected to the Devil card. I honestly, like, I took this project on because I really wanted to learn more about tarot, and it's a lot of research for me. I'm not like super well versed in it. I'm learning, but I really, really hope that like I'm getting the symbolism right. I'm pulling a lot from like the Rider's Waite deck, but also doing my own stuff. Like I want it to be my own unique thing too, and I just hope I don't go too far off script that it's unusable. But yeah, if anyone has a better understanding of tarot and I'm doing something glaringly wrong, let me know in the comments or whatever. Yep, so just kind of positioning the outlines of the lovers. I'll come back and do those later. I think I just at this point I had a migraine and needed to stop drawing. But yeah, hey, hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm gonna do this for the rest of this card, and then who knows, maybe more in the future. But yeah.